Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, February the 18th. I'm Gary Stevens. Thursday, third Thursday of the month, we set aside to talk about what's going on at Holland City Hall. We do this twice a month, with the city manager on the first Thursday and with a member of the Holland City Council on the third Thursday. And this month we are joined by Mayor Nathan Bocks, who joins us via the Zoom connection from his offices at Central Park Law in Holland. Nathan, good morning and welcome back to Talk of the Town.
Good morning, Gary. It's great to be here. And one little correction, it's March 18, not February 18. Don't make us relive that last half of February.
No, I know. Months and I sometimes have issues from time to time, but and I don't have one of those big calendars that says, nice big blocks. Maybe I need to do that. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for correcting me. But if you have a question for our Holland Mayor Nathan Bocks, you can certainly ask it at 395-1450, 395-1450. Yesterday, everybody was wearing green except me. I didn't wear green. I was wearing blue. Some of us not of Irish descent, others in this building to my right is but anyway, it certainly was a quieter St. Patrick's Day. It would have been the parade heading east on 8th Street if it wasn't a case, but hey, maybe we'll start having parades soon, Nathan.
Hope so. We did receive a report last night from Tulip Time, and the city council approved the annual Tulip Time packet. And the report from Gwen is they've got a lot of plans, but things are still a moving target as far as Tulip Time is concerned. The health department doesn't want to have activities that might draw big crowds, but Tulip Time is doing the best they can. And one of the messages that city council sent to Tulip Time last night was, we want to be as helpful and cooperative as the city can possibly be in this process with this ever-changing environment. So while we approved a packet last night for Tulip Time, we fully expect things are going to change between now and the first week of May. And we're ready for that. Not
just Tulip Time, but also maybe we can get the Memorial Day parade perhaps by Memorial Day. That would be nice. If not, the truck parade on Labor Day.
Yeah, those two things would be great. As we get more vaccines in arms, more and more of those things are going to be possible. We've got vaccine clinics going on at the Civic Center. Those are done by the county, but the city is helping with the space at the Civic Center. I actually had the honor of participating yesterday. I got my first shot in my arm yesterday. And wow, what an incredibly efficient system that the county has put together. They're working with the National Guard, and Chris Hart and his staff at the Civic Center are doing an absolutely wonderful job working hand in hand with those groups. Everybody's got big smiles on their faces, and the energy is almost palpable in that facility. It's great to have the doors open, the parking lot full. I want to see more of those things coming in the days ahead.
395-1450 if you have a question for Holland Mayor Nathan Bocks. Good morning. You're on the line with the mayor.
Yes, I was wondering if you could tell me when we're going to be getting our recycle containers from the city.
Those are going to be coming in the second week of April. We've got a rollout planned, no pun intended, but those carts are going to be rolling out in about the second week of April or so. We've got a marketing plan with the city of Holland. We're going to be providing not only the carts, but lots of information for people on how to use them, what to put in them, so that we can make this as an effective program as we possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. It leads to another point that we normally bring up this time of year, spring cleanup. And where are we standing on that situation? Because obviously we like to have the city clean as possible for Tulip Time.
Exactly. Spring cleanup is underway right now, started on March 13, runs through April 4. We want residents to know that they can bring their yard clippings, their shrub trimmings, and small branches to the curb for street pickup by street crews. They're going to try to get out there as quickly as they possibly can. Last year, we had a really big spring cleanup effort by folks. Lots of folks were home with COVID or dealing with it from home and spent a lot of time in their yards. And we actually had a bigger haul last year than we'd had in years before. I wouldn't be surprised if we had that again. But remember, April 4 is the last day to put those things out there. We want the crews to be able to get around, get things picked up so we can be ready for the warmer days ahead.
Yeah, that's for the the outdoor cleaning up. People sometimes do indoor cleaning up, and it becomes yard sale season. We didn't have one last year. That to me, maybe I'm showing my my proclivities, but to me, if we start seeing garage sales and yard sales and block sales, that to me is another sign things are getting back to normal.
Exactly. I'm very excited about that prospect. As I said, as we get more shots in arms, we're going to start to be able to open things up and start to have a more normal life and a more normal year ahead.
Hate to beat a topic into a dead horse, but I'm going to beat a topic into a dead horse with Holland Mayor Nathan Bocks. By the way, if you want me to stop beating the dead horse, call now, 395-1450, 395-1450. But we talked about parades, but it's also been brought up, and again, it's a little bit early because we're talking on March 18th instead of May 18th, but let's see if we can get that street performer series back going this summer, because that was a missed thing again last year. No street performers.
It was. There were a lot of missed things last year. I know the folks with the downtown group also working diligently with Linda Hart at the Visitors Bureau, working with the folks at Windmill Island, with Chris Hart at the Civic Center. It's nice to have the Harts on either end of 8th Street working together. Those groups have been working for over a year, trying to find things that we're able to do based on whatever the restrictions are that are in place at the time. And as we said with Tulip Time, it's often a moving target. As Gwen Allward has said last night, they make plans, the rules change, they scrap them. They make new plans, the rules change, they scrap them. They make new plans, the rules change, they scrap them. I was involved with meetings with those groups a year ago already, and we said, let's do our best to have as much planned as we possibly can. So when things open up, we are ready to meet that need, because we know there's pent up demand. We know that people want to come to town. We know that people have some money in their pockets that they would like to spend. We want to make sure that the community is ready for those people that we know are coming. And there will be people coming during Tulip Time, even without events. We didn't have any events last year. We didn't have restaurants or restrooms last year, and we had folks coming to see the tulips. Some people like that idea because the crowds weren't as big as they were before. But we know this year those tulips are going to come up. They're going to be beautiful. We have some events that we're able to do, but we want to make sure that we're ready for those folks that are going to be coming into the community. And we've got great people in town getting those plans in place and making sure that they're adapted for whatever the rules happen to be on that particular day.
395-1450. Let's get one more call before the break. Good morning. You're on the line with Mayor Nathan Bocks.
Yes, I want to know about the recycling things. Why are we going away from the yellow bags to containers?
Sure. The yellow bags, for anybody who used them a lot, knew that there was a very high failure rate with those yellow bags. They simply broke open. And with recycling, one of the very important things of it is that the materials that you're recycling are clean. And when those bags break open, the recycling would get mixed up with other trash. It would become contaminated. And a lot of it ended up not being able to be recycled. Plus, there's that frustration of being in your garage and trying to put the things in the bag and having the bag break open. And so we've moved to a cart system. We actually got a very large grant that those carts were paid for, a couple $100,000 grant that required us to get 96-gallon containers for every single person in the community. We've got those containers under production right now. We're going to be getting those delivered, as well as some extras, so that everybody in the community gets them and that we're able to use them. And we're hoping to be able to push that rate of usage up much higher than it was under the yellow bags.
And also, we're going to end up paying a little more on our bills on our BBW bill for the garbage, aren't we?
There's a slight increase in the BPW bill. I can't remember right off the top of my head what that's going to be, but we're also hopeful that some of that may be offset in the future by the fact that if we're able to sell more of the recycled materials, that we may be able to get some of that back. What's a very important thing to remember is a huge amount of the cost of switching over was covered with grant money, so it didn't come out of the taxpayers' pockets, but there is going to be a slight increase in the cost in picking those things up. Yes.
And also, what about the music festivals Friday nights at the park, Collins Park? Are they planning on redoing those?
Are you talking about a separate festival, or are you talking about maybe the American Legion that's on Tuesday night?
No, they have a regular music festival.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I just want to make sure it's clarified because it can be easily confused here. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, that I'm going to put into the category of we need to wait and see. We're still trying to plan for as many of those things as we can, but whether or not we're actually going to be able to execute those is really going to depend on where the COVID numbers are and what the restrictions are that are in place. But we're hopeful to be able to get as many things back as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for the call. Probably by this time, 2 months from now, City of Holland will have a new municipal budget for fiscal 2022 on hand. You got to approve it. It'll be done right after tulip time. Certainly, City Manager Keith Van Beek and the staff hard at work getting the draft down and presented to the City Council in early April. Hopefully, some of the goals and some of the priorities will be able to be accomplished. But just as this year has been, it's going to be a work in progress. It's going to have to be agility and nimbleness to be able to get through this coming year, I'm afraid, Nathan, in terms of getting this budget taken care of.
You are exactly right. Last year was a bit of a reach year in terms of the number of things that we had planned during COVID. We got a lot of those accomplished even despite COVID. And this year is more of a I don't really want to use the term regrouping year, but a more cautious year than we may have had last year. We approved the budget last year just as COVID was starting with a whole lot of uncertainty. There's still some uncertainty out there, so we're trying to make sure that we're as careful as we possibly can be. And you're exactly right. Keith and his staff are working on that budget right now. There are a couple, though, of very exciting things that have come out of the BPW because we just approved the proposed BPW budget on March 8th. Two things. One that then again, council approved last night. We have the wonderful gas-fired power plant that's only been in operation for 4 years, but 7 years ago, we issued bonds to help pay for that plant. And what we did when we put that together, I wasn't on council yet, but what council did and BPW did at that time is put in a 7-year call option on those bonds. In other words, we had the option to be able to pay off some of those bonds in 7 years rather than waiting the full term. We just approved last night at City Council to pay off $90 million worth of bonds for that power plant, which will save the people of Holland $40 million in interest payments. So we're saving big money over at the BPW. There was a call earlier about maybe some additional cost on the BPW bill for recycling. Another thing that BPW is doing is actually reducing rates. We're looking at a reduction in electric rates. There's some other rates that are one going up a little bit, one going down a little bit, but on average, you're going to be saving about $70 a year on your BPW bill because of the change in the rates that are taking place at the BPW. So big news there. We're also working on broadband. Looking at that as a possibility. We had been talking about that pre-COVID. COVID made that a very much necessary thing for us to be looking at. And another thing that we talked about last night, and this is still in the very early stages, but in the last stimulus bill, there were payments that were going to be made directly to municipalities, to cities, to villages, to townships. And we're looking at those numbers. None of this is final yet, but it looks like there's a possibility that the City of Holland may be getting about $8 million for projects over the next few years. There are no set plans in place for that. We do not count our chickens before they're hatched. I've had conversations with the city manager about this, and I said, we're not going to talk about how we might spend that money until we're sure we actually have that money.
Money in the account, yes.
Money in the account. and I've had people say, well, those are our tax dollars anyway. That's not like it's free money that's coming from the federal government. I say, you're exactly right. That's money that's come out of your pocket. But it's nice that it's coming back into the community. We're getting our own money back.
Instead of going into other communities that, well, anyway, enough about that. Nathan Bocks, thank you very much for joining us today on Talk of the Town. Wish you and everybody at City Hall well. I know we'll be talking with you again soon.
Great. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you very much, Nathan Bocks on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.